You are not your job. You are not your car. You are not your bank account. Fight Club said this in 1999. But here's what everyone misses. This movie wasn't about fighting. It was about you. And if you don't realize that, you're already living your own Fight Club. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to show you why Fight Club is more relevant today than ever, and how to know if your life is headed down the same path. The narrator has the job, the apartment, the wardrobe, but the camera lingers on him flipping through IKEA catalogs. He doesn't just buy furniture, he buys identity. What kind of dining set defines me as a person, he asks. And that's the first sign of an empty vault, when who you are depends on what you own. We do the same today. Scrolling through Instagram, buying clothes to look like someone else, chasing brands and aesthetics to feel valuable. But instead of fulfillment, it only deepens the void. This is called substitution. Instead of facing your emptiness, you fill it with possessions, with likes, with achievements. But the brain adapts. The dopamine fades, and what once felt enough becomes nothing. That's why the narrator couldn't sleep. That's why so many of us can't rest. Because deep down, you know the stuff doesn't fill the silence. Desperate for meaning, he does something strange. He goes to support groups. He pretends to have cancer, alcoholism, grief, just to be around people who feel something. And here's the truth. The strongest addiction in modern life isn't drugs. It's numbness. When you've numbed yourself with work, with shopping, with scrolling, pain feels like proof you're still alive. That's why he goes back night after night, to cry in strangers' arms, to feel human again. And if you have ever gone from doom scrolling to crying at a random TikTok, you know the feeling. And then he appears. Not with fanfare, not with announcement. Tyler Durden slides into frame like smoke. Red leather jacket, cigarette dangling. That smirk that says, I know something you don't. Watch that airplane scene again. Tyler isn't just talking to the narrator. He's talking to you. You wake up at Air Harbor. You wake up at O'Hare. You wake up at LaGuardia. You wake up, but you never really wake up. The camera holds on his eyes that see through everything. The corporate lies, the consumer trap, the prison you call life. Tyler represents the part of you that society murdered. The wildness, the authenticity. The man who says what you only think. And when the narrator's apartment explodes, when his entire IKEA life goes up in flames, who does he call? Tyler. Because when your illusions burn down, only truth remains. And Tyler Durden? Tyler is the truth you have been running from. The man you could be if you stopped being afraid. The voice that whispers, this isn't living. This is dying slowly. He doesn't just show up in the movie. He shows up every time you feel restless. Every time you think, there has to be more than this. Tyler isn't the villain. He's the mirror. Outside the bar, Tyler asks him to hit him. The first punch isn't about pain. It's about waking up. For the first time, the narrator feels something real, something raw. And this is where Fight Club is misunderstood. It's not about violence. It's about authenticity. Pain became proof of life. And if you feel that hunger for something real, hit subscribe. Because we're building a brotherhood of men who refuse to live numb. Carl Jung talked about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny. Tyler is the narrator's shadow, the boldness, the rage, the authenticity he's suppressed to fit into society. And here's the truth for you. If you keep denying your shadow, it won't disappear. It will control you from the dark. That's why his life spiraled. Tyler wasn't created that night. Tyler was always there, waiting. Once the fights begin, people show up. Men with broken lives, crushed spirits, and empty eyes. They come for pain, but they stay for belonging. Tyler gives them something the narrator's world never could: identity. Suddenly, they're not office workers or nobodies. They're part of something bigger. And this is where the danger enters. When your vault is empty, you'll join anything that promises to fill it. That's how illusions gain power. That's how movements rise. Not from truth, but from hunger. Psychologists call this group identity. When people lose themselves in the tribe, they no longer question, they just obey. In the basement, they learn to endure pain, but in Project Mayhem, they learn to surrender thought. And isn't that our world today? Influencers promising you easy money if you just follow their system. Gurus selling you lifestyles instead of wisdom. Movements built more on anger than truth. When your vault is empty, you will sell your freedom for belonging. Remember the Paper Street house? Dark, broken, mold on the walls. Yet it became their home. Why? Because it wasn't about comfort anymore. It was about meaning. Men left their jobs, their lives, their comfort zones, just to stand in the rain for 3 days, waiting to be let in. That scene is powerful because it shows this truth. People will suffer for what they believe in. The real question is, what are you suffering for? And here's the part that will blow your mind. They weren't following Tyler. They were following the version of themselves they wished they could be. Look around your life, your job, your routine, your relationships. Are you living, or are you just surviving? Because Tyler Durden lives in every man who has ever looked in the mirror and thought, is this it? Is this all there is? That's why it spread, not because of him, but because of the mirror he held up to their emptiness. As Fight Club spreads, it stops being about awakening. It becomes about destruction. The rules multiply. The soldiers lose their faces. The mission shifts from feeling alive to destroying everything dead. And the narrator sees it in their eyes. The same men who once looked broken now look fanatical. Because when change isn't built on truth, it always ends in chaos. That's the final warning of Fight Club. If you don't face your own emptiness, someone else will weaponize it. By the end, Fight Club turns into chaos, Project Mayhem, destruction. Why? Because when you repress the truth for too long, it explodes. The narrator didn't just destroy buildings, he destroyed the illusions. He killed Tyler, yes, but really, he killed the mask. And in that final scene, watching the skyline fall, holding Marla's hand, he's alive, finally alive. This is where the movie becomes a mirror. We all start where he did, chasing possessions, substituting meaning with status, numbing ourselves to survive. But the warning is clear. If you don't face it, you'll collapse too. So catch it before it happens. If you feel restless even when you have it all, if you're chasing more instead of asking why you're empty, if your identity depends on outside validation, that's your wake-up call, your Fight Club moment. Don't wait for your life to explode. Tyler said it best. Our great war is a spiritual war. Our Great Depression is our lives. This isn't about toxic masculinity. This is about authentic masculinity. The kind that's been stripped away by corporate slavery, social media validation, and a world that wants you docile. Fight Club isn't about fighting. It's about freedom. Freedom from the illusion that things will save you. Freedom from the false self that suffocates you. Freedom from numbness, distraction, and hollow living. Because the real fight is inside of you. And when you win that fight, when you step into your authentic self, that's when you become worthy to rise. If this video woke something up in you, don't just scroll. Subscribe to Worthy to Rise. Share this with someone you know is living their IKEA life. And drop a comment. What's the real fight you're facing right now? Because your awakening starts with admitting the truth. Remember, there is no spoon. There's only the life you've been programmed to accept, and the life you have the power to create. This is Worthy to Rise, and your fight starts now.